I'm sure Captain Picard would have something meaningful and inspirational to say right now. To tell you the truth, I wish he was here because I'd like to hear it too.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fully Functional, a TNG podcast. I'm Maggie, joined by Jeff and Dory.
Yup.
Jeff and I are huge Star Trek nerds. Dory's a Star Trek novice, and we are taking her on our first journey through Star Trek: The Next Generation. Today, we're starting season 4. Yay!
Holy shit.
Yeah. And today, we'll be discussing Best of Both Worlds Part 2. And the original air date was September 22nd, 1990. So yeah, let's take it to Dory for the recap.
Okay, so... okay. I'm sorry to, just start this off, right? But, okay. I was listening to the Transfigurations episode, and I heard my prediction for the finale, and holy shit, why did my prediction for the finale was actually somehow was the prediction for this episode? I literally said in there that they were gonna try to use data to get the Borg knowledge or shit or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
Well, you said that the Borg would kidnap Data.
Yes, but I mean, I was right that someone got kidnapped in the finale, but in this, literally exactly what I said in my prediction happened in this.
Mm-hmm.
Of that they would try to use data to get Borg information. Wild. Okay, so recap. We basically leave right off from where the finale left off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So work. Jesus.
Work.
War fire. Yeah. War fires, nothing really happens, and Riker's like, oh, they couldn't have adapted so quickly, Dr. C's hair looks longer, and Wes looks a little older. Other than that, everybody pretty much looks the same. So then Picard comes up on the screen. It's Borg Picard, for those who do not remember, and that I have to make a name for every version of Picard, because God forbid I use the name that they actually give the character.
Yep.
I don't remember what it is, but I do have it in my notes somewhere because Riker says it.
It's Locutus.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Picard comes up on the screen looking very pale.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, the knowledge and experience of the... The knowledge and experience of the human Picard is part of us now. It has prepared us for all possible courses of action. Your resistance is hopeless, number one. And everybody gasps. Not really, but everybody looks shocked. But I say everyone gasps. I also found it really funny that, Picard still called Riker number one.
Yeah.
I think they deliberately did that in order to make it clear that he could be brought back in some way, but at the same time, the way that he delivered the way that he delivered the line was always kind of awkward. So I don't know if I completely agree with it.
Well, the way I interpreted it was specifically to push Riker's buttons.
Mm-hmm.
To sort of
that's fair.
And to also make it make Riker's feelings on the whole situation a whole lot more complicated. Before he could pretend that isn't Picard, but him continuing to call him number one just reminds him that that was Picard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then the Borg ship starts to it pieces out and continuing towards Earth, but the Enterprise is fucked. They are a fucking hot mess from that battle, and they need 8 to 12 hours to get their shit together and fixed up. So meanwhile, some Admiral, I think it was the guy from the finale, but I can't be bothered to look 2 pages back in my notebook to find his name.
It is.
It is.
Who has time for that? So he was like, we're going to mobilize.
I don't know, Admiral something or other.
Yeah, Admiral, that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's mobilizing 40 starships, and the Klingons are sending warships. Nice Klingons. And they thought about talking to the Romulans, and it's okay. And then the Admiral is like, listen, even though he just has like a really stupid story of he's like, listen, there was some race. All the olds won the race. But then all of a sudden, a freshman won the race. And that freshman was Picard. And from that story about winning a race, he's like, and that's how I know Picard would never assist the Borg. Like, not sure the logic is there, bro, but
it certainly wasn't.
Okay.
That was a very weird dialogue choice, but
yeah, it was really funny.
That's the choice they made.
So then Admiral, that guy, is like, says that Picard is a casualty of war, and I just wrote, nope. Like, what? And then after it, I wrote, okay, so like, what? That's it to this guy? Rip to Picard then?
Yeah, he did.
And then they're like, then Riker gets promoted to captain, and then Shelby looks pissed. It's okay, Shelby. Don't worry. You'll get your time to shine. Mm-hmm. So now we like cut to Picard in the Borg ship. And honestly, every time I looked at Bocard this episode, it was really upsetting because, okay, I got a bit of a weak stomach. And every time they showed him with those cords and shit in his face or like in his body, kind of made me a little queasy.
No.
So, like, I mean, it's not like the best makeup job because you could sort of see it. But at the same time, if you're not super, like, I didn't want to pay that much attention to, like, the makeup because I just wanted to, like, take in the episode. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it made me a little queasy just seeing all those, like, cords and hoses and shit.
Wow, it gets way worse after TNG.
Oh, good. Something to look forward to.
Yeah, you get to see, like, undead veins and shit like that.
Ew.
And, oh boy.
No. Ew.
Yeah, they really go full on necrosis with the way that they design the Borg after this.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So yeah, we see Picard. People are like doing shit. Oh, he's also got like, it looks like a little satellite on the top of his head that like moves around, which I thought was so funny.
Yeah, I was very impressed by that.
And then we see one single tear fall from Bocard's eyes. I was like, oh, that's so sad. Well, it's either like Picard or it's just really bright and his eyes are open and it just can't like deal with the brightness anymore. So his eyes get all teared up. Like, same. But so, okay. So then like, this was such like a, oh yeah, Shelby mentions Reg. And I was like, I
am surprised you picked up on that.
Yeah. I love a continuation situation.
Yeah, there's actually a couple of other things that she mentions in that scene, but I didn't write them down because I'm like, oh, that's a neat bit of trivia that's not all that interesting.
So then Riker's like, listen, Shelby, you did good on the Borg ship. We don't have to like each other to work together. You keep me on my toes, so like, I want to be first officer. And oh no. So he's telling her that, and then she's like the first officer, perhaps? And he's like, he literally says, damn, you're ambitious, aren't you, Shelby? I'm like, yeah, at this point, I'm like, Riker, just like, yeah, let her, this is like, it's more worth her being on your team, just like, yeah. Okay, so then like Starfleet is like, listen, okay, we're gonna like set up to like intercept the Borg at Wolf-359, and then they like do a video chat with Admiral Hansen. Is that the guy from before? I could not tell. All these old men look the same to me. Sometimes I like, I joke, one of my friends has white man blindness. I think I have old white man blindness.
Well, it's also been a while.
Yeah, but we did just see him, but I'm also wasn't sure if it was the same guy. So he's like, oh, yeah, it's not going well. And then, like, it cuts out. So I wrote, rip?
Yeah.
Did he die? Okay.
Yep.
And then Riker is like, listen, Worf, we're still bros, but you need to be in tactical. Data, also bros, but you have no ambition. So, like, I think Shelby is going to be my first officer. Nothing personal, gang. And then Data... then they're like, okay, so like we need to figure out something. So Data and Dr. C are like, why don't we use nanites? And then Shelby's like, the fuck is that? And then they're like, we'll explain. I'm not gonna explain. They'll explain. And then they're like, yeah, what if we like, it'll take 2 to 3 weeks to get this done, but like, what if we like shoot. This is from what I got. They want to shoot those nanites into the Borg ship and just like let them go buck wild, let them go crazy on that ship, and then like see what happens.
I actually kind of want to know what effect that dialogue had for the choices that they make with the Borg in the future. They don't do it within TNG, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything for you by telling you. But the way that they do the Borg in one of the movies and in Voyager is they infect people with these little machines called nanoprobes, which are basically magic plot machines.
Yeah.
Tiny probes?
They're tiny microscopic machines that infect people with Borgism.
Well, remember in the first episode of season 3 where Wesley is working on those little nanite things? It's this.
And then Kelso from Dr. Scrubs kills them all.
Yes.
Yeah. The nanoprobes are essentially that. They're like super tiny little computer bugs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so the Borg, the way that they infect people in future episode, well, not after TNG, is they have these tubes on their arms that like they like come out of their arms, stick into your neck, and infect you with these nanoprobes that over the course of a couple of hours turn you into a Borg all by themselves.
Yeah.
So they just like grows like the metal bits. It just grows out of you like a plant.
It grows out. No, it grows out like because they're like CGI tubules, so they kind of look like rubber things that just kind of pop out for a second, quickly go into your neck, inject this stuff, and then pull back. It's like a split second, so you don't really see it in detail. But then you get to see the transformations parts in detail. And basically they took the concept of what assimilation is here and they made it more organic-like. And it's kind of... I don't know if I agree with it. I think it was probably one of the lazier choices that they ended up making. It definitely makes the Borg more zombie-like. But I'm wondering how much the dialogue in this episode ended up affecting that later on, because they're already suggesting using these tiny nanites, and I'm pretty sure this is the only time that nanites have been mentioned since that episode, and it might even be the only time that they get mentioned after this as well.
Okay, so then like Guinan visits with Riker, and I don't even remember if they've had like scenes together where they actually chat.
Barely.
Like I know they physically have been like, I know because I remember the LOL episode where she kisses Riker and Guinan's like, get off. But like I don't know if they've ever actually had a scene together. And she's like, yeah, it's like a bummer of a mood in 10 Forward right now. Everybody thinks they're gonna die, and like you have to like do something. Oh, she goes, you're gonna have to do something you don't want to do. You have to let go of Picard. And then Riker goes, maybe you haven't heard, I tried to kill him yesterday.
Yeah.
Because it's basically like it would be easier if he died, because like otherwise we know that he's out there and his vibe is just still on the ship and like all his rules and shit. So then they arrive at the Wolf system, and oh fuck, it is a absolute graveyard out there. There's all these ships. Shelby says the Tolstoy, the Kyushu, and the Melbourne.
If you remember, actually, the Melbourne is the ship that was offered to Riker at the beginning of the previous episode.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Rip to all those people. Well, I mean, rip to all the people, but like, I did not remember that. I didn't.
That's why immediately when she said it, the shot changed over to him, and he like kind of took a breath and was like, "Oh boy."
Oh yeah, I did not go look back at my notes from the finale for this episode.
That is
which is why I couldn't remember Admiral that guy. So yeah, I didn't remember that the
Admiral Dead Guy.
Yeah, it is. Admiral Dead Guy. Yeah, so it is an absolute shit show, and it's really sad because they're just like flying through, and there's all these like incredibly damaged ships, and one's like on fire or something.
Yeah. So in terms of significance, Wolf-359 is Starfleet's 9/11.
Yes.
Like that's how big a deal this is.
Oh.
Yeah, the numbers, like the final numbers as they're quoted in a much later episode, are 39 ships and 11,000 people.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And this is also like, I think like the majority or a good chunk of Starfleet's like fleet of like all their ships and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
In their defense, they are very inconsistent about what the size of Starfleet's fleet is, because you get moments like here in TNG when 39 is quite a lot. You get moments in early parts of DS9 where like 10 to 15 to 20, again, it's a lot. And then you get to the later parts of it where they're just like, okay, so we sent the 7th Fleet, which is 1,100 ships. And we're just like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure, guys.
Jeez. Wild.
So, yeah, the scale of Starfleet, it just seems to get bigger every time that they have a need to reference it. So don't worry too much about that. In the context of right now, 39 is a fuck ton. It's actually the most amount of ships that have been in one place at any point in Star Trek up until this point.
Wow. That's wild. Okay, so then they're like, go back on the trail for the Borg. And they're like, well, Riker's like, hey, prepare the saucer separation. And then she's like, but Picard knows that plan. And Riker's like, yeah, I'm counting on it. And I was like, yes, make it so, Riker. Make it so. And then Riker's got a special mission for Data and Worf. And, Riker wants to talk to Picard. And to discuss the terms of surrender. And Picard's like, you must unconditionally surrender. And Picard thinks Riker's up to something, and Riker's like, Picard trusts me and would not lie, and knows that I would not lie to him. Then Picard confirms that Picard implicitly trusts you, which is like, oh, cute. Yeah. So then like Picard wants Riker to disarm all weapons and escort them to Sector 001 so they can assimilate culture and technology.
A little Earth-centric, don't you think?
Yeah. So then Riker cuts the feed and he's like, hey, can you pinpoint the source of the Borg's transmission? And they can do it within 30 meters. So Worf and Data turn a thing on their arms and they go out onto like a little shuttle. And and then meantime Riker's like, listen, can we get some like time to prepare the people to assimilate? And Picard goes, your attempt at a delay will, oh god, this is what I get for writing so poorly. Your attempt at a delay will, I'm going to assume this says not be successful. Great. Will not be a successful one. Oh my god. Sometimes I wonder if I should go back to school for penmanship. We will proceed to Earth, and if you attempt to intervene, we will destroy you. And then Riker goes, then take your best shot, Locutus, because we're about to intervene. And we're like, whoa! And then it happens. Then all of my dreams come true. Yeah. And that's how I know season 4 starts out in a good way. Because Sopper, oh my god. The saucer separation happens.
Yeah, I was hoping that...
so happy.
Yeah.
The Sopper separation.
The saucer.
I knew you'd be excited for that, yeah.
Yeah, I was so excited. Then they're like, oh man, this is actually a very intense moment. Riker, okay, they're separating. Then Riker's like, pattern, Riker, Alpha, or whatever. And like, separate that shit. And then like, shoot a bunch of random laser shit at the Borg. And then like, pew, 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 pew. Then Data and the Worf, they're in the shuttle. They're like close enough into the Borg ship. They like jump onto the Borg ship. They transport. They didn't jump. They take out the other Borgs. Worf goes for Picard and Picard's awkwardly long arm. That thing he's got with like all those like the multi-tool at the end.
Yeah.
And it's just like awkwardly long.
And he's just pointing it at random people.
Yeah, he just like swings it around, but it looks like he's like trying to like choke out Worf, but then Data saves him. Like he injects something in the back of his neck. And then they transport back to the shuttle, and O'Brien gets them back on the Enterprise. The shuttle explodes. And then I actually had to look up because I can never remember which part is the saucer and which is not the saucer.
The saucer's the round part.
The round bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like a UFO, it has the saucer.
Yeah, a flying saucer.
Oh my god, I never thought about that. excuse me, I need to leave. That never occurred to me for 1 second.
Or like, when you have like a
Goodbye.
teacup with the little plate is a saucer.
Okay, excuse me. I need to go walk into traffic.
It's okay.
None of this has ever occurred. Well, I know like a flying saucer, and I know like a saucer and cup thing because my mom has like a collection. But like,
you just didn't put 2 and 2 together.
Nope. I needed to put like 65 and 12 together. Apparently. Oh my god. Oh my god. Why did I Google it then? I went on the.
A little bit of interesting trivia regarding this. So the main reason
the
that
saucer
they don't
is the round bit. Sorry.
And it took me a really long time to find that out on the internet. Because I Googled which part is the saucer on Enterprise.
That is impressive.
It brought me to Memory Alpha. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
Yes. Memory
That's the
Alpha
Star
is
Trek
Star Trek
Wiki.
Wiki, yeah.
And then the bottom part is the second hull or something.
Secondary hull.
Yeah, close enough. I'm having a day.
Also known as the engineering hull or the engineering
Yes,
section.
I remember that part because I remember thinking, is that where Geordi's hanging out right now?
Yeah.
So the reason that they don't end up doing saucer separation much, despite the fact that like it's a really cool sequence, the only out of they have 3 models of the Enterprise that they use for special effects at this point. One of them was made partway through the 2nd or 3rd season, and they end up using that one the most. The only one that can do the saucer separation is unfortunately their largest model, which is 6 feet long, and therefore by far the most difficult of the 3 to work with, because they have a 2-foot model which they use for shots where the Enterprise has to look like a lot smaller because like it's either further away or they need something to put it against for scale and whatnot. And then they have the 4-foot model, which is it's a fair bit more detailed. It's actually more detailed than the 6-foot model in some cases, which is a little weird and a little bit different. So technically the models are not all the same, which is a little weird. But yeah, you won't see it very often just because the 6-foot model is huge and hard to work with.
You know, they had the saucer separation in the pilot. You feel like they would have planned for this.
Well, the thing is they built the original model to the same specifications, well, not specifications, but the same like size kind of ideal that they did with the original series model and with the models that they used in the films. So they just thought, well, we want these to look really nice and good quality, but they didn't think about the fact that they're going to have to not use just stock footage. They're going to have to do more shots with them every now and then. Yeah. So it ended up being a pain after the fact just because of a lack of foresight, which sucks. But again, that's why they built the 4-foot model and just decided we don't actually need to use the saucer separation that much, since in the show we make such a big deal out of it that it's kind of meant to be a huge thing when it happens anyway.
Yeah, save it for a treat.
Yeah, exactly.
You get a little saucer separation as a treat.
Yeah. It is kind of a big deal, honestly. Like, if you had a ship to do that, like, it's a whole ordeal to do it, so.
It is.
Yeah. I understand why they wouldn't want to do it that often.
Yeah.
And the saucer doesn't really, like, it's for emergencies, because, like, I don't think the saucer even has warp. I think they just have thrusters, yeah.
Now, it has, I think it technically has the impulse engines. You know how there's those 2 things that light up on either left and right side of it? Those are apparently the impulse engines, which makes me wonder if the Star Drive section also has impulse engines somewhere on it, but we just don't see them. But, you know, that's some stuff that's never really referred to on screen, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, like, they're back on the ship. The saucer is just, like, hanging out. And Riker goes, I don't know why I found this so funny, but he goes, rendezvous with the saucer section. Okay, Riker. And then, okay, so they've got Picard, and Riker wants to know if it's like a 2-way street, because Picard gave the Borg information, but does that mean, like, can they get Borg information? Oh, yeah. Bocard also has his six-pack
yeah.
abs plate, which I find very funny.
And the cod piece, which like weirdly folds up when he sits up.
Yeah. You can tell this outfit was not made for sitting.
No.
So then Bocard says that he will not harm them, but will be the spokesperson for the Borg. So it's like, great, thanks. So the Borg can still like have a connection with Picard, but the question is, can they separate the man from the machine?
Can they disconnect him from Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the Borg has now entered Sector 001. They will reach Earth in 27 minutes. And the Enterprise could only intercept the ship in 42 minutes. That means nothing.
Yep, because they end up doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, the timing for the rest of this episode, which I will note, makes no sense.
Well, I think they find a way to slow them down, if I'm not mistaken. I don't
Well,
remember.
their time jump just makes no sense.
Yeah.
So then we bring, for whatever reason, they put Bocard in the ceiling to like remove his clothes or something, because then they pull him down from the ceiling and he's basically naked except for his like metal implant stuff. And I was like, I mean, there's no complaints, but also why?
Why not?
Yeah.
It was also honestly a little gross.
Yeah. I think they needed access to all that stuff, but did they like it's like the little cage thing he's in literally only has like the only privacy is a big panel to block his junk.
Yes.
Yeah. And it also, like, what does it do? Because he can still reach data because he grabs data. So like
his junk is
this?
blocked, like by a thing, like he's wearing something.
Yeah.
There.
Oh yeah. So like it's not like that thing. It's not meant to restrain him. If you remember, Lal was in that thing.
Yeah.
It's like sort of to so that they can connect to his like computer parts and stuff.
Yeah. So then like Data opens the side of his head to do like a neural link. Dr. C's tracking the vital signs. Troy is there reasons. And
she's there to like see if she can feel when it is that they make a connection with
yes.
it.
Yeah.
So then they're like trying to do the links, nothing's working. Then the third one, something happens, and like so basically Data hacks into the Borg.
Yeah.
I'm in.
And yeah. So then Data goes, fascinating. The Borg group consciousness is divided into subcommands necessary to carry out all functions. Defense, communication, navigation, they are all controlled by a root command implanted into each. And then the Borg wakes up, and then the Bocard's weird claw like goes for Data, and surprise, increased neural activity is Picard. Whoa. And then on the bridge they're like, guess what, we've gone from 23 minutes to interception to 2 minutes, so like make it make sense. So Data continues to hack the Borg, and then the Borg is like pulling Enterprise in. They're like they fire weapons, we fire weapons, collision course with the Borg ship. Bah, bah, bah. Oh yeah, and then Bocard is like, sleep, Data. And then they're like, yeah, let's put everybody to sleep. Okay. So then Data makes all the Borg go to sleep.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then I guess so then Shelby and Worf go to the Borg ship to just confirm they're all asleep. And then they're like, guess what? Because of this like Borg malfunction that they're all asleep, there's like a self-destruct shit. So should we like stop it or let it go? And Riker, like the words of Elsa from Frozen, said, let it go. He didn't say it, but basically.
Yeah.
Like Elsa, he lets it go. And so then the Borg blows up, the ship blows up, and then Picard is like, I guess his like Borg collective mind is like disconnected. Mm-hmm. And Dr. C's like, I can remove the implants. And Picard's like, I have a headache and I can remember all of it. And I said, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's gotta be traumatic. Get this man into therapy. And he's like, good plan, Riker. And then they need like 5 to 6 weeks for the Enterprise repair. So I was like, you should really use that time to go to therapy.
Yeah.
Because like when we see what's his face again, Picard, he's not, I'm assuming this has got to have some kind of lasting things, because he's not doing great. He like lifts up his cup and then like puts it down and he's like, maybe not. And I'm just like, oh wow, this is heartbreaking.
This part of him actually remains a defining attribute of his character going forward. It's not referenced all that often, but when it is, it makes sense when it's brought up, and it's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
It definitely informs his character going forward.
Yes, because he definitely did a murder.
Mm-hmm.
Several hundred murders.
Well,
several thousand murders.
Yeah, he participated in Wolf-359.
Yes.
Ruh-roh.
On the Borg
Basically,
side.
he did 9/11.
Yeah.
Bush did 9/11.
Yeah. Picard did Wolf-359.
So, now that we're at the end of the description, what did you think of this follow-up to an absolutely stellar previous episode?
I liked it. I like Riker's plan. I like that he had like shit going in the main team, like the bridge, and like fire shit and like do all this stuff, and then have like Worf and Data on the side to go get Picard. But everything did seem a little I'm not gonna say easy, but we'll say convenient, because like they truly had no trouble getting Picard. And like, wasn't that sort of the issue that near the end of last episode, where like they couldn't get Picard because they could like recognize like the phaser patterns, but like there wasn't anything for this. They're just like, well, I don't understand. They just shoot. Like, what's the? I don't know. This just seemed really, really easy to get Picard. And then they're like, guess what? We can fix it. And then they like kill the Borg on this particular ship. I mean, we're obviously going to see them again.
Yes.
Not all of them are dead, but like, I don't know. Like, it seemed very like wrapped up nicely. Like, I liked the episode.
Yeah. So here's what
everything just seemed real convenient.
Both the writer, who was Michael Piller, who was also showrunner, and the director thought very similarly about it. They're like, okay, we liked what we did with it, but we didn't think it really lived up to what we built up in the previous episode. So it's important to remember that Michael Piller didn't realize when he wrote the episode that he was going to come back. He thought, like, I'm writing this and I'm leaving this show with a bang, and that's it. And then they sat down and was just like, you know what? I kind of enjoyed this, and ended up negotiating a contract for the next season and stayed on with the show. So he didn't have a plan.
Yeah, that's the thing, is they wrote the first half without a plan for the second half because so many things were up in the air. They didn't know if Patrick Stewart was going to come back, and as Jeff just said, like, Michael Piller figured he wasn't coming back, like, all this stuff. So they didn't really have a plan for the second half.
Yeah, that unfortunately ends up being a trend in Star Trek, writing the first half of a two-parter and then not coming up with the second half until they come back. Yeah,
because like I do like what they did. However, I just think that there should have been like a longer conflict, because like it did feel okay. Like the finale was so, like that reveal of Picard as a Borg was so good. And then also seeing him as a Borg is like super upsetting, but like, I don't know. I just thought like it would have been more, I don't know, if there was more time with him being a Borg, and maybe they try to rescue him again, but it fails or something. I mean, but the thing is, like, I do realize, like, I'm saying this, but like, I do know that it's the episodic problem, right? Like, you can't.
Yes.
You can't drag this on for too long. Like, you have to, I guess.
This is also a pretty dense episode as it is. Like, there really isn't anything you could cut out, which is unfortunate because in the original scripting process, there's several more scenes. I think like 2 or 3. We don't know exactly what they are because the scripts, I don't know if these versions of it were publicized. But there are several other scenes that involve Riker trying to figure out his place on the ship going forward, but they had to forego them in favor of the action scenes that were obviously basically promised with the first episode. And they're like, well, we got to pick one or the other, and one of them is going to keep people here more, and the other one is not. So those aren't as necessary. We still get our story across without them. So there was apparently going to be another scene between Riker and Guinan, with him trying to deal with how to get over the ghost of Picard looming over the ship situation. Mm-hmm. And that just never ended up materializing, and I think it's too bad. I think the episode could have been stronger, but all things considered, this ends up being one of the more satisfying conclusions to a two-parter that we get throughout Star Trek, so I'll give them credit for that. It's one of the few times that I think a two-parter, while it is a little convenient, it wraps up comfortably. Like, I'm satisfied with it. I wish we had gotten more XYZ, but overall, nothing about it disappoints me.
Yeah, I'd say that. It's like, I mean, it's disappointing in its convenience, but it is like,
it still was exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, shit happened. It wasn't a boring episode. I did like Riker got some time to shine. I did really like his scene with Guinan, because also Guinan says something of like, she's known Picard for a really long time and doesn't really, I guess, explain their relationship or anything.
And they
like,
never will.
That's okay. That's all right. I can speculate on my own.
Yeah.
Guinan is an enigma wrapped in a mystery.
Yeah. I don't think it's romantic, but they're just like extremely close.
Yeah.
But I do think that it was interesting of like he means so much to her, but she's just like, yeah, in the context that we're in, we just gotta forget him and like move on, because otherwise you're gonna put like if everybody else here like thinks they're gonna die, then like we're all fucked. And like if people think they're gonna die, then they're probably gonna, like, it's the self-fulfilling prophecy shit. She doesn't say that, but it's like basically
yeah, I think her line is like, if someone thinks they're gonna die, they'll probably find a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
And to like have to, for someone that's like made such a big impact on Riker, to have to just like casually toss the feelings away. But it's funny though, because like she says all this and then it's like, but Riker already tried to kill Picard.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's a nice scene and like I enjoy it, but I just, because he also says like, oh, I just tried to kill him yesterday. So like it's almost like her telling him to like that he shouldn't be like thinking of him or whatever. That didn't quite hit for me, because he already was able to. But I know like it's mostly about him trying to like I guess reassure the crew, or just be like, you have to, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
It's not like,
I don't know how to explain.
It's not that she's like, oh, you should just forget him or whatever. It's not like that. It's like, I don't know how to explain it, because
not like forget him. Like, you should not dwell on it. Just like you can't hold on to him for right now for this, because like he's not doing that is what's going to stop you from like trying to do what needs to be done.
Yeah, because he even brings up, it's like, look, I tried to kill him yesterday, and she's like, you tried to kill that thing on the Borg ship, not Picard, So it's like, it's more about like, letting go of the idea of Picard. You're still acting like he's the captain, but you're the captain now, and you have to act.
He's the captain now.
Yeah, you have to act as such. And then I figured, like, it would have been nice to have more scenes, but I always interpret it as, like, he's made the decision, like, Guinan's right, but he's made the decision that, like, no, I'm not going to let go of Picard, and I'm going to get him back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not ready to let go of him. As much as I do really like this episode, and I'm, like, 1,000% happy that Patrick Stewart comes back, and I love what the show is going forward. It would have been so fucking cool, though, to have, like, a Captain Riker with First Officer Shelby series.
Yes, I agree.
Like, it would have been so cool to, like, see that timeline.
Yeah, because, like, they have a really different dynamic. That, like, Picard and Riker are, like, bros.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't get another reference to Shelby for 30 years. She's in a Lower Decks episode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because they had a really interesting dynamic, because I like that number one was not romantic.
Yeah.
Like, I love a romance as much as the next person, but I do really appreciate, like, friendships in these shows, like, in shows in general. Like, I hate when you just, like, automatically just let people be fucking friends. Like, not everybody has to, like, want to fuck each other. Just let people be friends. Or just, like, or call it whatever. I don't know. Just, like, I really like that this was not, like, there was no sexual tension. It was just them working together. And when they finally, like, you know,
got their heads out of their asses.
Yeah, when, like, he utilizes her talents and she, like, listens to, like they just, when they work together, they did such a good job. And so, like, yeah, they can butt heads. And I think that would have made actually a really cool series of, like, Riker and Shelby. Yeah, they could have just called it Button Heads.
Yeah. I have to say, though, it was a really good contingency plan for if Patrick Stewart left the show.
Yeah.
Was this actually a contingency? Was this, like, a real thing?
Yeah.
That they thought about?
His contract was up at the end of season 3.
Oh no, I know, but, like, I mean more of, like, was there really a contingency to do a Riker and Shelby show?
Not necessarily, but okay. I'm sure that's what they were thinking when they wrote it.
But Riker would take over as captain. Yeah.
Yeah.
If Patrick Stewart didn't come back, it would be Captain Riker in control of the Enterprise. And Shelby would probably have stayed on as first officer, or maybe. Yeah,
I think they would have kept her just because getting rid of a main cast member, you kind of need somebody to bring on with them, and it would have made sense for keeping her on specifically for the writing potential with Riker.
Yeah. It does suck though, because I really like Shelby as a character.
Yeah, me too.
And I liked that they gave her, like, I don't know what better way to put it, like, sort of a redemption, even though she didn't necessarily need redeeming, but, like, I guess in a way it's like a redemption in part 2. But she didn't lose, like, her ambition or anything like that. I really appreciate that, especially with a female character.
Yeah.
I just really appreciate that they had a female character who was ambitious and she wasn't, like, punished for it.
It is frustrating to me that the episode was essentially going for a master and pupil dynamic between like Riker letting go of Picard and having to become the master of the ship himself, and they didn't really deliver on that. And I feel kind of like I feel like they strung me along for what could have been a really good conclusion to that story, because that's the sequel to Best of Both Worlds Part 1. What Riker does now that he has actually had to give up Picard, but instead they go with, well, he doesn't give up Picard.
Yeah, because especially in the first part, they really, really set up, like, you know, is Riker ready to take command and all that stuff.
And it turns out that no, he's not.
Yeah.
Because he needed the power of friendship.
Yeah.
Power of friendship heals all.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a generous interpretation in that, like, Riker realizes, like, there's more than just the ambition of being captain, and that he's fine with just staying, you know, the first officer, and it's not because he's afraid, because now he knows he can do it. He just prefers this. Yeah. And he's fine with that.
Yeah, because of the camaraderie that's been built up.
Yeah. I think in the SF Debris review of this, I think I think that's the way he interpreted it, is that now Riker knows he can do it, but he, you know, still chooses to stay first officer.
I would like to give Worf props in this episode for his really worthless contribution and basically the definition of why he didn't deserve the first officer spot. When him and Riker are in the turbo lift, and he says, well, the Borg have neither honor nor courage. That is our greatest advantage. And it's just like, great, yeah, thanks, Worf. Eat any good books lately?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and I wanted to say, I forgot to say that, like, it's not that Riker doesn't give Data the first officer because he has no ambition. Riker just says, like, I know that you, like, you're not really ambitious, but I wanted you to know anyway that I did consider you. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to flatter you anyway, Data.
Yeah.
Because it makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm. I think his excuse is that, like, now's not, like, in this situation, like, moving people around isn't a good idea, so I need people, like, where they are and where they're best at.
Yeah. And Shelby's best at Borg, so...
Yeah.
Guess what, Shelby? You won the job.
Best of Borg worlds.
But she does get, like, the thing is... oh, God.
Best of Borg worlds.
Picard, or Shelby does actually get, like, a real good job at the end, though. At least. Because she's basically in charge of, like, rebuilding Starfleet's, like, fleet of ships.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, and, like, doing more Borg research shit, so...
I wonder if she ended up working with Cisco.
I don't know. Maybe.
Who's Cisco?
Oh, she's
the singer of the thong song?
No.
He's the captain / commander in DS9.
And also on his spare time?
No.
Release the thong song?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's so bad.
His story starts at Wolf-359. He's there at the battle, and then it skips forward to when DS9 starts, and that basically informs his character going forward.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
Nope, there aren't any spoilers. That's where the episode starts.
Yeah, that's in the pilot.
Yeah.
Gasp.
Did you notice what Riker's evasive maneuver Riker pattern alpha was? It was turning left.
Okay, Derek Zoolander. Or the opposite of Derek Zoolander. Yeah. Can he turn left? Or he can't turn left? I can't remember.
Yeah, I forget which direction it is, but yeah, he can't turn in either direction.
Yeah. Ooh,
one of them.
Ooh. Okay, I never noticed this when I was younger. I seriously just noticed it on this watch, and it's weird because, like, it's very clearly there. Maybe it's just because it's in HD or whatever. But when Picard is having his, like, skin color changed and all that stuff, it does that close up of his eye, and he has a single tear, and I'm just like,
yeah,
I never saw the single tear when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed it for the first time last night.
Yeah.
I can imagine, like, looking at it now, it probably wouldn't have shown up that well in SD.
It didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't think I ever noticed that either.
That's the first thing I noticed.
Mm-hmm. I love, like, after they bring him to sickbay, and he's just, like, you know, he's, like, up and about now, and he's just going to different people being like, you will be assimilated.
Klingon species, you will become one with the Borg. Thank you, Picard. Thank you.
I like my species the way it is. A narrow vision.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I do like that they try to be a little bit philosophical with the Borg this episode. They certainly don't when they come up in Voyager, which is too bad. They just kind of become generic zombie bad guys. But yeah, it's... I think that the concepts that they introduce in this episode for the Borg, like, this is still really early on. This is only their second appearance. But I think the concepts they introduce are really
Third,
good.
technically, I think. Or fourth.
No.
Because there's the Q episode.
Yeah, that's when we see them the first time. They're mentioned a couple of times before that. Or rather, something is mentioned and alluded to.
Yeah, you're right.
I guess it's the third if you count the fact that part one was a separate episode.
I was counting that part one was a separate thing. But you're right. Yeah.
So going with the solution of their interdependency as their weakness, I think that was a really good decision. I really wish they stuck with that because they certainly don't. They basically just make the Borg psychopaths later on. And there are actually moments in Voyager where they just, like, destroy entire Borg cubes. Like, the Borg decide, oh, we'll just destroy this cube to show how powerful we are.
Yeah.
And it's like, great, yeah, okay, fantastic.
Like, the reason they destroyed this cube was because, like, okay, we're compromised, so we're just gonna bail now.
Yeah.
And these people are, I mean, they're disposable. Like, the Borg are like, there's more drones, so whatever.
Yeah.
You know what just occurred to me? Because they were, like, right above Earth when this happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, like, I wonder how much or if any debris would have gone onto Earth, and what would that have, kind of damage would that have caused?
Oh, well, none
I
of
would
that
assume it would
happens.
land in the
Far away
United
it was.
States because, well, I would also would assume it would land in the United States because everything has to happen in the United States.
So
But-
while that doesn't happen in this episode, it happens really stupidly in the prequel series that they do, Star Trek Enterprise, which should not reference the Borg at all because it takes place like 150, 200 years before this. But, you
Yeah.
know, they decided to find a way to work it in anyway, and it's dumb. Basically, a ship gets destroyed in orbit of Earth, and parts of it crash into the Arctic, and they go and find it, and it turns out that the Arctic has preserved the Borg, and they wake up and start assimilating people, and it's
That's what
dumb.
happens to Captain America.
Yeah, Enterprise is really fucking stupid. They
Yes.
decided to do a prequel series for a show that people are very notoriously hard on them for continuity and
Yes.
things. And the thing is like, they didn't bring in, like, new ideas. They just had to, like, drag... So, okay, Discovery has its issues, and it has its continuity issues, too, like the fucking spore drive and whatever, like, how come no one fucking ever mentioned this again? But it's like they... Keep in mind, I have not watched season 3 and 4, so this could be wildly untrue. But in season 1 and 2... they didn't, like, bring back old shit. They, like, came up with new stuff.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, you have this prequel series, which you're already, like, kind of putting yourself in a difficult position, and now you have to try to fucking worm your way to, like, make sense that you're bringing this shit into the series? Like, why?
Does Discovery take place? It takes place, like, right before TOS, right?
Yeah, about 10
Yeah.
years before.
Because I just remember seeing, like, stuff online of... Because I just actually read recently that they cast someone to play Kirk.
They did. They did.
It's the guy from Vampire Diaries.
Yes. He certainly looks the part in the shot that they've got. It's actually really shitty that leaked already because that's not in Discovery that happens. Discovery has since jumped far into the future in order to avoid all of that stuff with their storytelling. But there is a series starring Anson Mount.
Oh, yes. Ben from Crossroads. I've heard of it.
Oh, yeah, they're doing a Captain Pike series, right?
Yeah, so that one's going to be starting up this year, but the series is successful behind the scenes, so they decided to greenlit a second season. And so we haven't seen any of the first season yet, and it already got leaked that Kirk is going to show up in the second season because they started filming it already. And it's like, guys, it would have been way better.
Out yet.
Exactly. It would have been way better if you could have controlled this leak, but it looks like they just couldn't.
Man, I have so much Star Trek to catch up on.
They have Spock in this show, too, right? I remember
Yes.
just seeing a picture.
Yes. You know a Star Trek is a real Star Trek if it has a Spock.
Yeah. Yeah, Spock is in season 2.
Oh, yeah, and Spock is in TNG later.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I won't tell you anything more about it.
Well, I'll look forward to it.
Yep. He is still alive at this point because Vulcans live a very long time, as you have already realized.
Well, his father's still alive, so.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Sarek.
Yeah, good job, Sarek, for being not doing too well. Ooh.
No. We do get an update on Sarek, and it is not good.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Something not to look forward to.
No, let's not bring any of that up.
Oh, yeah.
Shall we go on to favorite moments? Is everyone done?
Yes.
Okay, well, obviously, like, without question, number one favorite moment. The saucer separation.
Yeah.
Of course.
I love it. Oh, so good. I also liked when, right at the end of the episode, when Riker and Picard are talking in his ready room, and then somebody buzzes at the door and they both say, "Come."
Yeah.
It was so cute.
Yeah.
I liked when Riker was like was talking to Shelby and she's like, "Oh, so you need like a first officer?" And then he's like, "Damn, you are ambitious, aren't you, Shelby?"
Mm-hmm.
That scene
really
is
like that.
legitimately my favorite in the episode.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's quippy, but like it's realistic, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Because I feel like it kind of, I don't know if this was on purpose, but it mirrors when Picard and Riker kind of get together for the first time.
Yeah, it does.
When Picard's like, oh, so I see, like, you don't let your captain go on away missions, and, like, so you don't think the Authority is good or whatever. And and he's like, no, sir. And Picard's like, good, you're just the type of man I need.
But then he lets Picard go down on many away missions.
I mean, he complains first, at least.
Yeah. And then...
But yeah, to Shelby, he's like, I need someone who's going to keep me on my toes and stuff.
Yeah. And then I really like... So, like, okay, when they have the group in the conference room, just, like, figuring out the plan after they talk to Admiral Hansen after he rips. Riker
After
says,
he dies?
Yeah.
They were talking to him after he dies?
Oh, no, they were talking to him, and then he dies.
Oh, yeah.
And then Riker says to the group, I'm sure Captain Picard would have had something meaningful and inspirational to say right now. To tell you the truth, I wish he was here, because I'd love to hear it, too.
Mm-hmm.
That is, like, a dire thing to say.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Riker. This is very random, but I've always noticed that Picard, like, rolls certain of his letters, if that makes sense, just in the way that he speaks, his, like, Britishness.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, like, it's never been more apparent than in this episode. Some of, like, the R's and stuff, I can't remember what specific words, but, like, I just found it as, like, Bocard, and he's still rolling his, like, letters. Very funny.
Yeah. Well, probably because he's speaking more stilted, it's, like, exaggerated.
Yeah. But yeah, good episode. Lots of good shit.
Mm-hmm. One of the moments that, like, I wouldn't call it a favorite or anything, but it stands out, and I really enjoy the moment. I think it heightens the tension very well, is that, of course, because it's TV, like, just before they're able to get the Borg to go to sleep, go into their, like, regeneration or cycle or whatever, and the situation looks hopeless, Riker's like, prepare for a collision course, because he's like, oh yeah, fuck, like, we're out of options. If we're gonna go out, we're gonna try to take them out with us at least, I just thought, like, that moment was, like, really good for, like, raising the tension and, like, the desperation of the situation. In terms of favorite, I mean, I think I mentioned before that I really like when Bocard is, like, going around sickbay just being like, you will be assimilated, and you will be assimilated.
And you get an assimilation, and you get an assimilation.
I like the quote-unquote redemption of Shelby. Like you, I love that scene between her and Riker when they, like, finally work shit out. And they're like, listen, like, I know I was a dick and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's all I can think of at the moment. But I do like that, even though everything's convenient, the pacing of the episode, I think, is great. Yes. Every scene matters, which is a good thing. A solid episode all around, I think.
My fucking favorite moment is the scene between Riker and Shelby in the engineering. That just, it blows me away. I like, this is great dialogue. It really, really helps with both of these characters, and I think it's, even though, like, Shelby is there several other times in the episode, that is her standout moment in it, and I really appreciate that they put it in there.
All right, time to move on for predictions for the next episode. I think I'll hand this one over to Jeff because he prepared a better description than I.
Ah, yes. So, Dory, the next episode is called Family.
Okay.
And in the next episode, in an effort to deal with his recent trauma, Picard decides to confront some ghosts from his past.
Is it his mom? Can he confront his ghost mom?
That's for you to decide.
Ooh. Because we've seen his mom before in, like, that little, like, fantasy thing. He had tea with his mom.
She is dead. So it
could be ghost mom.
No,
ghost mom.
Could be.
Ghost mom.
I'm not going to confirm who he talks to. That's up to you to decide.
Ghost mom. Okay. Wait. Okay. So what if because instead of going to therapy, Okay. He goes into the holodeck and he's like, I need to speak to Mother. And
men will literally recreate their dead mother before going to therapy.
Yes, yes. Oh my God, yes. And maybe he wants to go someplace that like he felt. I mean, well, he's probably feels pretty violated and like traumatized, right? So like maybe in the holodeck he goes somewhere like his like childhood home or somewhere that he feels safe, and his mom's there, and we know that he was like close with his mom and he can talk to her. I was trying to picture to see if like I can't picture Picard with a sibling. I assume he's an only child. Am I wrong or right about that? Can you tell me that, or is it a
we can't tell you.
Spoiler? Because like I cannot picture Picard with a sibling. I don't know why. And just like yeah. So yeah, I just really think it's going to be Ghost Mom related. Ghost Mom. Or maybe, okay, the like part A of my guess is that he goes to the holodeck and recreates his like child. I think I've given a prediction not like unsimilar to this in the sense of like, I think I've just really want to see where people grew up. And I think I did a guess. Maybe it's either Troy or Picard where like, I want to see their home. So the one part is like, okay, maybe he goes to the holodeck and like to like chat with his ghost mom. Hey, listen, in my defense, it's plausible. We already have had a ghost mom. So yeah. Ghost mom take 2. Or maybe, well, okay. You know what? Screw it. We're sticking with ghost mom. I'm not coming up with something else. I'm ghost mom. Yeah.
All right. If you want to see if there's ghost mom, watch along with us and join us for the next episode of Fully Functional, a TNG podcast.
Goodbye.